Welcome back to the Outfit Repeaters podcast. I'm Megan.
I'm Shelby.
And we are your hosts. Today we are recapping Season 1, Episode 6, Jack of All Trades. Before we get there, Shelby, what are you reading and watching? Anything new?
So I've gotten a lot of audiobooks out of the way. I finished, I think last time we were together, we talked about, I was like halfway through Paris Hilton's memoir. Mm-hmm. And I read that, and it was so good. I love her. She's so much deeper than people give her credit for. And then I, onto your recommendation, listened to None of This Is True. And it's a book that I, had to keep thinking about, and, I still keep thinking about it. I'm like, wait, I really don't know what is true. So...
And None of This Is True is one of those that's really fantastic on audio specifically because you're getting dual points of view and you're also getting a podcast. So you're getting kind of like a multimedia experience. So it makes it really interesting. You don't just have one single narrator that just talks at you for 10 hours.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It was almost like I was in some places listening to a Netflix documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was really good. It's a book's full of twists and turns for sure. Mm-hmm. And then, so I finished that, and I started the second book in the Housemaid series by Frida McFadden. Okay. Also, I have about 3 hours of it left, and it's again another book full of twists and turns. So yeah. I really like that. So I've been doing a lot of audiobooks. Every time I sit down to actually read, I read about 3 pages, if that, and then get too tired to continue. So
fair.
I've read about the first 40 pages of ACOTAR.
Okay.
So I really want to, I can tell I'm going to like it once I get more into it. It's pretty, from the jump, pretty, stuff's happening the first few pages. So, I want to sit down and read it, but I am so tired to actually
totally
sit down and read. So, and then as for what I'm watching, we started season 17 of Big Brother, and then I rewatched The Simple Life.
Oh, goodness. Last week, I think I was a little over halfway through Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. I have finished that. It was good. I mean, it's one of those that's, good, but I don't think it's going to be, memorable. And then I have started and finished The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden on audio as well. Ooh. And then I have about 30 minutes left in Dear Future Mama by Meghan Trainor on audio. It's only 200 pages, so it was really, really quick. It's a 4-hour audiobook. Still doing the tandem read of Throne of Glass. It's just coming along slowly.
It does.
Life is busy, and it does take some brain power to read, so it's not always a great post-work activity because my brain is a little bit fried by that point. And then watching, we're big Food Network people, so we're watching Tournament of Champions on the Food Network. And the new season of Survivor started last week, so all exciting things happening. Spring TV is popping off.
Oh my gosh, I'm so ready. The time changes this weekend too.
Yes.
So yes. How is pregnancy?
It's getting better.
Good.
It is getting much better. The nausea is pretty much gone. I'm able to eat a little bit more, which is nice. Really, the only consistent complaints are headaches, which I've been prone to headaches my whole life. So that kind of just is what it is. And then just random body pain. I was having some really extreme tailbone pain on Monday to the point where every time I moved at all, I was screeching in pain. So I have an appointment with the chiropractor next week. I think going to the chiropractor regularly is going to help address both of those problems, but feeling good. I'm not feeling this huge surge of energy that people say that they feel in the second trimester. That does not happen for me. My energy is still, it wasn't crazy low during the first, but it wasn't great, and it's still not great. So, right. But
Oh, did I ever tell you I broke my tailbone in 7th grade?
No.
Yeah, I fell down the stairs at school.
That tracks.
I was in a hurry.
Honestly, it's very Lizzie, too.
It is very Lizzie. I was trying to make it to my bus on time, and I fell down the stairs at school. I still remember I had on a purple limited to rhinestone top. And like
you would remember what you were wearing when you broke your tailbone.
And then like denim Bermuda shorts.
Not the Bermuda shorts.
And probably like what were those flip flops? Everybody, yellow box.
Yellow box. So fugly. Never had a pair, and they always turn the bottoms of everybody's feet black. I'm like, why are you wearing those on purpose?
Oh my gosh, my yellow box flip flops.
Missed me with that. Well, okay. Are we ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
We are recapping season 1, episode 6, Jack of All Trades. Original air date was February the 23rd, 2001. We open at school. We are in homeroom, and coincidentally, Lizzie, Gordo, and Miranda have Mr. Pettis for homeroom, as well as for science.
Of course.
And they are getting the career aptitude test. And so both of the girls obviously are freaking out that they're getting graded or, you know, whatever the outcome is going to be. Gordo says, chill, it's not a real test. There are no right and wrong answers. Just put down what you feel. And Miranda is reaching under the desk and says, I feel gum. And here I was literally gagging. I could not, seeing her, touching that gum was so disgusting.
I would have to get up and move.
Yeah.
I could not sit that. For the viewers, we don't know. I hate gum. I hate it with a burning passion. I hate the sound. I hate the smell. It's the texture thing. If I knew that was there, I'd have to get up and go to a new seat.
Fair.
I hate it so much.
So here, Animated Lizzie says, how we feel. Doesn't that sound a little new agey? Ooh, do I smell incense? And I had to point out that here, Animated Lizzie is sitting in a yoga, crisscross applesauce yoga pose and levitating, which made me LOL.
I was going to mention that too.
Yeah. So again, they're back to the career aptitude test. Miranda wants to know what it's for. Gordo says it's supposed to tell you what might be a good career for you. And Miranda says, okay, bring it on. As long as one of the choices is backup singer, I'm gold. And then Lizzie fears that it's some kind of self-pop quiz. Then Animated Lizzie says, Mr. Pettis can slice and dice a frog in formaldehyde faster than you can say Benihana. The downside is he gets kind of wigged out about all of the homeroom paperwork. And here you see all of the students handing in folders, papers, booklets, just stacking them higher and higher up Mr. Pettis's lap until he falls out of his chair.
Relatable.
So here, Mr. Pettis goes through the test bubble procedure, talking about do not use a check mark or an X. Fill in the bubble completely. And the gang is...
on this in a second.
Oh, yeah. But the gang is, lamenting that they've been doing test bubbles since kindergarten and they don't need to be re-instructed each and every time.
You would be surprised at how many times you still have to reiterate this, regardless of age. I have taught...
Yeah.
many teenagers, and you still have to be fill in the bubble completely. So yeah, Gordo, maybe you can figure that out, but not everybody can.
True.
Not everyone has shrink parents, okay?
Yes, everybody is in the hallway, and Gordo says, look at them, poor suckers think they'll all be the next Bill Gates, when in reality, odds are they'll be manning the hair scrunchie cart at the mall.
Gordo!
And here I had to point out Lizzie is in an abstract patterned blue and green top.
Oh, I like that.
With even more abstract patterned blue and green, green pants. They aren't blue and green. They're just green. And I said, honestly, I would wear these pants today. I think they're
like
fabulous.
that outfit. That was my favorite outfit of the episode.
I do too. But there was something that I noticed later, and I want to see if you noticed it too.
Okay.
Here, Lizzie's telling Gordo that he doesn't have to worry because he gets straight A's and everything. And here is where we get to the heart of the episode. Gordo says, not in science. Mr. Pettis has been giving me B's all semester. And Gordo thinks it's because Mr. Pettis hates him.
Yeah, okay.
So, the girls wonder, is it maybe because he put that dead frog in his pocket before the camping trip? And Gordo says, it was alive when I did it, but I don't think that's it. It's got to be something about me. Okay, truth. If there was some gross abnormality I had that Mr. Pettis hated, you'd tell me, right? And this is just funny to me because this is such a consistent theme with Gordo. Like, Gordo's like, am I a germ? Am I gross? Am I weird? And is always
Puts
worried that the girls
frogs
aren't
in
going to be
coats.
honest.
Yeah. Puts frogs in coats.
Yeah.
Gordo is, like, I feel like he plays off that he is very secure, but he is just as insecure as Lizzie and Miranda sometimes.
He is. He
But that's
is.
okay. That's just part of being middle schooler.
So true. It's a universal experience.
It is. Boys and girls, like, everyone goes through it.
So Gordo had just asked the girls if he had a gross abnormality, they would tell him, right? And the girls said, like, what? And he said, an infected pimple, or a deformed twin growing out of my shoulder, or a unibrow. And here the girls in unison scream, ew! And I said, unibrow is where the girls draw the line?
Yeah, like...
For me, it would be the twin growing out of the shoulder. That's where I would have to draw the line, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm just like, okay, girls. Okay. Oh, whatever.
So we're back at the McGuire home. Lizzie's recapping that they took the career aptitude test, and Joe remembers that she took the test. And Sam said, oh, for sure, we both did. Your mom was supposed to be a rock and roll diva with a world-renowned shoe collection.
I want to be that one.
Yes. And here,
I want that result.
Joe's little sequence is like very Madonna. It's very like fluffy skirt, big hair bow, like neon colors with like a fishnet like type top over the top of the neon. And I just love it.
What I loved too was it was the actual actress that plays Joe that did it. It wasn't like a younger version of her. Like,
yes.
It was the actress that played Joe. I thought that was great.
Love that. She committed to the bit. So Lizzie says, you gave all that up for us, Mom? Way to prioritize. And Joe says, yep, don't you forget it. And then she starts hollering at Matt for dinner. And so Matt comes downstairs and said, okay, I have an announcement. And Sam says, all right, son, go ahead. And Matt says, I don't want to be called Matt anymore. From now on, I'm M-Dog. And so Lizzie's laughing, of course, and the parents are reprimanding her. And Sam says, all right, why don't we talk about this, buddy? Why are you so down on Matt? And Joe says, yeah, I love your name. And Lizzie says, yeah, because you picked it.
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not. The kid either likes their name or they don't. But, like, that just is what it is. That you're right as the parent.
Right.
So Matt starts going over his reasoning, which is because there's 4 guys in his class named Matt, and he just wants to stand out. M-Dog just feels more me. And I said here, as a 90s kid, this is so relatable. I'm sure you can relate as well, but like there were always 2 or 3 Megans, 2 or 3 Ashleys, 3 or 4 Jessicas. Like everybody had very similar names.
I only remember one other Shelby. And it's funny because we were both Shelby Marie.
Interesting. I graduated high school, so my maiden name is Miller. I graduated high school with a girl also named Megan Elizabeth Miller. And she didn't start at my school until I think junior year of high school. She transferred from like out of state, and she was in the band, and all of my friends were in the band. And so when she met everybody over the summer at band camp, they were like, this is a problem. We already got one of those. So she decided to try and go by Meg to try and eliminate some of the confusion, but it never did. I mean, like, I would be called to the office because like she forgot her lunch, and then I would be like, that's not my lunchbox. You called the wrong Megan up here.
Oh, that's the other one. Get the other one.
Other Megan. Other one.
This is a very like early 2000s because the way M-Dog is spelled is M-D-O-G-G, like Snoop Dogg.
Yes. And so Sam says, I knew we should have named him Dylan. And Matt says, there are 7 Dylans.
Oh my, not 7 Dylans.
7 Dylans. And so, they start kind of arguing about M-Dog being a little too something, a little too different. And Matt says, well, that's what I'm going for. Something cool, something street, something different. And Lizzie says, what about an Indian name, like Dances with Wolves? And Matt said, like what? And Lizzie said, how about falls off his Razor scooter or still wets the bed?
I love the Razor scooter reference.
I do too. And I said, I love that the brother-sister insults are really starting to ramp up, because the first couple of episodes, it was just Matt, like, insulting Lizzie, and Lizzie had no comeback. So good for her.
He was roasting her in the first few episodes.
He was. So now we're back at school, and it is the day that they're supposed to get the results for their career aptitude tests. So everybody's in the hallway going to homeroom, and Lizzie's trying to rush the gang. She said, my bangs are growing out faster than you're moving.
That made me laugh.
And I said, here Lizzie's wearing a similar outfit to the first scene, but it's a pink top with a funky pattern, and the bottom has pink pattern pants, and she's got pigtails with pink scrunchies.
Oh, I saw the pink pigtail scrunchie.
Yes. That you just struggle with that like I did saying platform flip-flop.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Platform flip-flop.
Fair. So Miranda says, why are you in such a hurry? And Lizzie says, I want to see what I got on my dolphin paper. And Gordo is lamenting that he probably just got another B. And Gordo says, you guys just don't get it. It doesn't matter how good my work is. Mr. Pettis just hates me. And Lizzie says, oh, come on, Gordo. Have you ever had a teacher just not like you? And Gordo says, well, things were kind of rocky with Miss Stokes in kindergarten after I threw up on the magic circle story rug. And you get a sequence of a bunch of little kids sitting crisscross on, some kind of rug, and then everybody's like running away.
That was funny.
And now we're in class, and Lizzie gets a B+ on her paper, and animated Lizzie says, my dolphin paper? Okay. The margins were a little wide, but it had at least 4 pages. Go ahead, ask me what dolphins eat. And here, an animated dolphin takes a bite out of the edge of animated Lizzie's paper.
Okay, but what do dolphins eat? I don't know. Lizzie, tell me.
Yeah. Please, the people are waiting.
Enlighten us. The people want to know.
Yes. So Gordo gets another B. Lizzie's telling him that the paper was amazing. And that it had to be some kind of mistake because this is an A+ paper. And Gordo says, maybe if it had your name on it. And Lizzie says, if it had my name on it, it would be called Our Friend the Ocean. Now we're back at home, and Matt is not responding to him being called Matt. So Lizzie steps in and says, M-Dog, Mom wants you. And here I have to point out, Lizzie has pigtails that now have like little bubble ponies in them. And each bubble has a green rubber band, which matches her green shirt.
I saw that. Oh my gosh. I was like, how long did that take you to know?
So Matt says, yo, Mom, what's up? And Joe says, you are not going to school like that. Go upstairs and change into something less Barnum and Bailey. And Matt says, word, can I at least wear my do-rag? And I just have to say here, this would never fly in 2025. No. Never.
No. Oh my gosh.
And because of that, we're just gonna chug on past that. And so Sam comes in from outside and holds up a little bicycle license plate that has M-Dog on it.
D-O-double-G.
And Joe says, we are so in over our heads.
We can't be over our heads. We're the parents. I thought that was funny. Sam is low-key funny.
He is. And of course, Lizzie has to jump in. Joe says, I'm open to suggestions. And Lizzie jumps in going, I, and both parents at the same time go, not from you.
Like, that's such a relatable parent moment. Like, a kid's trying to butt into the parents' conversation about the other kid, and they're like, no, stop. Not from you. So I appreciate them more in this rewatch.
Yes. So now we're back at school. We are in science class, and we are beginning a unit on the human brain, and they are getting assigned another project. And Mr. Pettis tries to make a joke. He says, students who wish to receive extra credit are encouraged to sign up for my brain swap experiment.
Okay, Phil Duffy's dad.
I know. And so animated Lizzie says, lame as that joke was, I always make it a point to go along with it when teachers try and get a laugh. And of course, Lizzie laughs very fakely. And so here is where we're getting the results of the aptitude tests, and he's passing them out. And Lizzie says, Gordo, I've been thinking about what I want to do since we took that test and realized I have no clue. And Gordo says, I thought you wanted to be a veterinarian. And Lizzie says, hello, I was 7. I also pretended I was a horse. And so Lizzie then says, I want an interesting job that lets me live in a nice place, travel a lot, and still have plenty of time for the twins. Gordo says, twins? And Lizzie says, it could happen. And so Miranda now jumps in and says, okay, forget everything I said about a career. Whatever I decide to do, I want to make a lot of money. And here I said, same girl.
Same. Yep. I was like,
Same.
okay, same.
And so Gordo says, I thought you were all about following your passions. And Miranda says, one of my passions is money. And I said again, same. So Miranda is the first to open hers, and she is going to be a Navy SEAL, and Lizzie is going to be a cosmetologist. And in Lizzie's little sequence, you get the most disgusting bunion-covered feet known to man.
Oh my gosh. And then in Miranda's little sequence, she's doing one-armed push-ups. Like, go off, queen.
Gordo is going to be a blackjack dealer.
Which is
and
funny.
So,
which is funny because, how are they going to put that on a test for middle schooler? It's just like...
As a middle schooler, I don't even think I knew what blackjack was.
I don't even think, to this day, I know what blackjack is. I just know you play it in casinos.
True.
And I'm like, you're going to put that on a middle schooler's aptitude test?
It seems a little out of pocket.
Oh, man.
But in this sequence, we've got Gordo dealing at a blackjack table, and his 2 customers are cosmetologist Lizzie and Navy SEAL Miranda.
I didn't notice that.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
And animated Lizzie says, I'd rather be a horse.
I did not notice it was them at the table. I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah. So later, Gordo, Lizzie, and Miranda are on the phone, and Miranda says, there's no way I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. A, you have to get your hair wet. B, you have to get up early. And C, you have to get your hair wet. And Lizzie says, cosmetologist? I never really thought about it, although I do have a flair for French braiding.
You know, if anyone could do it, it could be Lizzie and Miranda, because they always, whatever hairstyle they have, they spend some time on it, and I can tell they practiced it. So, do we remember when Miranda had the little spider buns? That took some time. I respect it. Maybe she could do it.
So the girls are still chit-chatting, and Gordo says, hey, Monica and Rachel, can we talk about something besides hair? Like why I'm supposed to be a blackjack dealer. And I said here that I love the Friends call-out, which is absolutely something I would not have clocked watching this as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I've not noticed that.
Yeah. So now we get Lizzie working on her next project about the human brain, and she has titled it Our Friend the Brain. And I said, I love that all of Lizzie's science projects are called Our Friend the insert something. First it was Our Friend the Dolphin, and now it's Our Friend the Brain.
And then she had said something about if Gordo had turned in his ocean paper, it would have been Our Friend the Ocean.
Correct. Yes.
I'm pretty sure I had to do some kind of report, and I drew inspiration from Lizzie, and I said something like, our friend, I don't know, yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Oh no, is that the title of this episode?
Our friend, the yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Oh my goodness. So Lizzie's working away, and the marker starts to run out, and she is calling out to Matt, who has got headphones on and is just dancing, doing his thing. Asking if he's got more markers, and Matt is ignoring her, saying that there's no one here named Matt. And Lizzie says, fine, yo M-Dog, hook me up with another marker. And Matt says, nope, you called me, you know what, you punked me, now you must pay. And so they keep going at it, and then Lizzie finally just decides to go straight for the jugular, saying, M-Dog, if you don't want your little homies to know that you sleep on geeky action hero sheets, hand over that Marco pronto. And he throws it to her, and she catches it midair and says, much love, bro. Peace.
Did you notice when she caught it, it's literally just her, Hillary Duff's hand, catching it, and very clearly it was somebody's just, placing the marker in her hand.
I did not catch that.
She did not catch that. Definitely not. The camera
we know of
so
her
off.
athletic abilities. We just covered rhythmic gymnastics.
Exactly. And we have seen her do that obstacle course at PE several times now, and she is not hanging in there, so.
No. So it's a little bit later, and Joe and Sam are in the living room saying that they're waiting on Matt to start the video, and they're calling him M-Dog. And Matt comes into the room and he's like, okay, what's the deal? Why are you calling me M-Dog? And Joe said, oh, we decided as a family to honor your decision. And this is top tier parenting coming in here.
This was so funny.
So Matt says, really? And Sam says, really? Except from now on, instead of Dad, you'll refer to me as Dee Dee. And Joe says, and you'll call me Mew Mew. Sam says, at all times, we're Dee Dee and Mew Mew.
That took me out. Dee Dee and Mew Mew.
And so Matt says, all the time, not just in the house, but in front of my friends and stuff. Oh man, no fair. Why can't I just call you Mom and Dad again? And Joe says, well, we just made a choice, just like you. And then they shush him because the movie is starting.
Okay, Mew Mew.
Yes. So now it's a little bit later. Lizzie is upstairs and answers the phone, and it's Gordo calling, asking how her brain project is going. And she says she had just finished and asks him how his is going. And Gordo says, great, I really got into it. It's the best thing I've done all semester. Now, what does that mean to you, Lizzie McGuire? And Lizzie says, nothing. And Gordo says, no, it means you're going to turn in my project with your name on it. I can't stand the thought of doing all of this work and getting a lousy B, so I want you to turn it in and get the A+ it deserves. And so here Lizzie starts to freak out. Yeah, here Lizzie starts to freak out. And Gordo says, she basically says that she wants to think about it. And Gordo says, okay, you might want to bring a 7-volt battery and any extra insulated wire you have lying around. And I said, right, because normal people have things like that lying around.
Yeah, Gordo.
So here Gordo says he'll turn in Lizzie's project. And, again, Lizzie wants to kind of think about it and says she'll talk to him tomorrow. So we're back at school and Miranda comes up to Lizzie and says, let me see your brain project. And she shows her the poster. And here I have to say, the hairstyles in this episode overall are just elite. Like here, yes. Miranda has crimping in her hair, and then Lizzie has her hair down with a little side braid, and there's like flower clips down the length of the braid.
She should be a great cosmetologist.
She would.
And also, Miranda only has a section of her hair crimped.
Correct.
It's not her whole head. It's just one little section, and it looks like she just got the crimper iron and just like got a section of her hair and just clamped it closed.
And then moved on.
Let it go. Like, didn't brush it, like nothing. Just went on to with the next step of her, getting ready routine.
Yeah. So Lizzie says, I don't know how all this brain science is going to help me achieve natural looking highlights for my clients at the salon. And then Miranda says, well, I figured a way to get out of the whole Navy SEAL thing. From now on, if anyone asks, I can't swim. And Lizzie says, Miranda, we took lessons together. There are witnesses. You wouldn't get back in the water until they made Shelley Grossbart stop having accidents in the pool. And here you get a sequence of little kids in a kiddie pool, like running away from the kiddie pool and screaming.
I love, they're getting swim lessons in, 6 inches of water in a kiddie pool.
Yes. And so Miranda says, okay, I can swim, but the Navy doesn't have to know that. Capiche? And so here Gordo comes up and they're asking where his project is. And he says it's too big to fit in his locker, so he had to stash it in the custodian's closet. And Miranda says, this must be some project. And Gordo said, well, some people might think so. Others might only give it a B. But what difference does it make? I don't need straight A's. I'm just going to be a blackjack dealer. You only have to count to 21. And here Lizzie finally relents and says, fine, you win. I'll switch projects with you. And so they go to get the project. And Miranda says, this is one cool project. What's this about you guys switching? And Lizzie says, Gordo doesn't think that Mr. Pattis will give this masterpiece the grade it deserves. And Gordo says, but if Lizzie hands him my little beauty, do you guys feel that a blast of Arctic wind coming from Sweden where they hand out the Nobel Prize?
That Lizzie will get because she switched with Gordo.
Correct. So she says, let's switch them before I change my mind. And then he starts to walk her through the buttons that turn on each section of the brain, but points out to only turn on one section at a time because it'll overheat. But he doesn't know what will happen when it overheats. And Miranda says, Lizzie, do you really think Mr. Pettis is going to buy that you built that? And Lizzie says, why wouldn't he? I mean, my name's on it. So they get their projects back, and Lizzie's project that Gordo had turned in was a C. And she says, that chart is definitely a B+. I should know. I get B's in everything. And Gordo says, get a grip. You don't get the C. I do.
Which, just to remember, a week ago, Lizzie was lamenting about how she got B's and everything. But now she's like...
Correct.
What? I deserve a B? Or whatever. And then on that dolphin paper, didn't she get a B? And she was excited about it.
Yeah.
Plot hole.
And so Mr. Pettis says, Miss McGuire, this is by far the best work you've done in class all semester. I'm impressed by how much you've applied yourself. This is what an A+ looks like, people. And so animated Lizzie says, suddenly it occurs to me I haven't thought this whole switching projects thing through. And then Mr. Pettis asks if she's considering a career in neurology. And here is where Gordo starts to have a meltdown.
Gordo roasts every person in this class.
He does.
He says, crash out.
He says, neurology? How about cosmetology? This brain is mine. Mine. I built it, every lobe, every fissure. Me, yo, moi. While everyone else was at the water park training Beady Babies, I was slaving away like Igor, and I can prove it. And then he starts to go through each lobe and starts turning them all on, which he told Lizzie not to do.
Oh, gosh.
And so Mr. Pettis keeps trying to interrupt him, and he keeps crashing out and telling him about each of the things that the brain does, like the occipital lobe controls your sense of sight. And he said, because of this lobe, you saw someone else's name on my project and gave away my A+ to Madge, the cosmetologist over there.
That made me cackle. Madge, the cosmetologist.
I love it.
And Lizzie's like, hey! So offended.
Yes.
The roast.
And so then he starts... Yeah. Then he starts talking about the frontal lobe. And he says, right now, the frontal lobe is telling me that I'm getting the shaft in this class, that I'm not getting the grades that I deserve. It's telling me that the man is trying to keep me down and everyone is against me. And here Mr. Pettis notices... Yeah. Mr. Pettis notices that the brain is heating up, and Gordo touches his head, and he goes, no, not your brain. And here the brain is pulsating. And Gordo says, oh, it's probably just because I didn't have a big enough capacitor... And all the lobes aren't supposed to be turned on at the same time. And here we get the explosion. And here, everyone.
Except for Miranda, who's making a disgusted face in the background.
As she should.
I would have made a disgusted face if I saw that intact thing in my science class. I would have been like,
definitely.
Why?
It looked wet. Why was it wet?
Why?
I don't understand.
Why does this look like a whale brain or something like that? Like, the size
disgusting.
of it.
Yeah. So here is where I notice something that I wonder if you noticed.
Okay.
All three of them are now wearing the outfits that they were wearing in the first scene of this episode. So the blue and green top that Lizzie was wearing with the green pants, she has that back on. Right before they walked into class, she was wearing like a side braid and a pink top.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because I remember, because I was looking at pictures for us to post on our Instagram, like our still shots, and I was like, wait, she has that blue top on here. But then you mentioned it earlier in the episode. I was like, huh.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Same outfits twice. And it was all three of them, too. I noticed that it was all three of them, not just Lizzie.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I guess they had to go back and reshoot, and they just were like, no one will notice.
Oh, my ring light just died.
Oh, no.
It's okay. So Mr. Pettis says class dismissed, with the exception of Gordo, and then says, chop, chop, Miss McGuire. We'll talk about your plagiarism later. And here Lizzie is flabbergasted. Plagiarism? And he says, yeah, that's what it's called when you turn in someone else's work and try and call it your own. And she starts stuttering that she didn't do it. She didn't mean to. She was just trying to help a friend.
This made me think of, you know how on TikTok everyone makes fun of Hillary Duff by being like,
yes.
This is like, oh my gosh, this is it.
This is where it came from. So the girls are in the hallway, and they're, of course, pressed firmly against the door, trying to hear everything that's going on. And they see, like, a small rectangular window at the top of the door. And Lizzie says, hey, maybe we could hear through that. Give me a boost. And so here Miranda starts trying to lift up Lizzie, covered in brain matter still, to try and see and hear what's going on in the classroom. And so Gordo's taking the fall for...
sense.
Yeah. Gordo's taking the fall for Lizzie handing in his project that he was trying to prove that it's impossible for him to get a fair grade. And Mr. Pettis says, is that what you think? And Gordo says, did you just miss my one-man show? And here Mr. Pettis calls him by the wrong name.
Gordo.
And Gordo corrects him. And Mr. Pettis says, okay, I may misspell your name, but I know that your first project this year was an A-, the rainforest terrarium. And Gordo says, my first and only A-. And Mr. Pettis says, yes, because your second project wasn't quite as good, and neither was the one after that. And Gordo says, I'm sorry, I just didn't see the point in breaking my neck all year and not getting an A. Mr. Pettis says, you're supposed to be breaking your neck. I've been giving you B's to keep you from just sitting back and coasting. And I just have to say, like, Mr. Pettis said that this is his technique and that it's working because he spent 2 weeks on the brain project. I'm like, I'm not a teacher, but this seems like a bad technique. I don't know. Weigh in.
It's not something I would do. I would have just been upfront and had a conversation with the student of like, I've noticed like this, you did really, really well this project, and then the other stuff that you followed up with after that was good, but do you really think that was your best work? So I think he should have had a conversation with Gordo, like, about maybe why he wasn't like working as hard as he may have previously done.
And I don't know. I mean, I know that this is a fictional character, but, like, I still don't envision any work that Gordo ever turns in to be B material. So it may not have been A+ material, but it was probably still A or A- work.
Right.
So this just feels like a little bit of a stretch to me.
Yeah. Yeah, from my professional perspective, I would have just had a conversation with the kid and just not been, like, playing, like, mind tricks on them almost.
Yeah.
So.
And so we flash back to the hallway, and the girls are still trying to see and hear. And Miranda says, you're not tall enough. And Lizzie says, maybe you're not tall enough. And Miranda says, maybe I have your life in my hands. And Lizzie says, good point. Stretch!
I guess they didn't have their platform flip-flops on today.
Right. Or at least not the tallest of the platform flip-flops. And so Animated Lizzie says, I don't usually pull this sort of stunt, but Gordo's in trouble, and it's partly my fault. And when I was younger, I did climb a pretty mean tree. So Gordo asks Mr. Pettis, if I had put my name on the brain, what grade would you have given me? And Mr. Pettis says, well, I'd have to take points off for the explosion. But it's still an A+. I know a student's best work when I see it. And here Gordo is continuing to crash out and yells that this is insane. And Gordo says, well, if you think that bad grades motivate me, why didn't you just expel me? Maybe then I'd get my PhD. And Mr. Pettis says, if you had a student with the potential to do anything, how would you keep him motivated? And Gordo says, potential to do anything? You may want to rethink that. According to the career aptitude test, I'm just going to be a blackjack dealer. And here's a little peek behind the curtain. Mr. Pettis says, listen, when I took that test, the results said I was most suited for a career in animal husbandry entertainment. And he explains that this is being a rodeo clown. And so we get a full sequence of Mr. Pettis in clown makeup, chasing around, like, small animals, probably, like, goats or maybe, like, sheep. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
And so here's the pep talk, and Mr. Pettis says, look, I'm not trying to limit you to dealing blackjack or getting B's. I'm hoping your reach will always exceed your grasp, thereby elevating you and fulfilling your extraordinary potential, even outside the gaming industry.
It's a lot of words.
It is a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
For a 7th grader.
Literally.
Like, okay. So we're back in the hallway, and Lizzie is wanting to get on Miranda's shoulder, and Miranda says, oh, good, after our last try, the smart thing to do is climb even higher. And so right about now is when Gordo comes out of the classroom and both girls fall to the ground and are just laying on the ground looking up at him. And they say, hi, Gordo. What's up? Lizzie asks what happened and if he's getting an F. And Gordo says, I'm not sure, but Mr. Pettis doesn't hate me. And I can probably get an A by the end of the semester. My lobes hurt.
I'm going to start saying that when I have a headache.
I know. And so he says, and by the way, we were wrong about the career aptitude test. It's not a job placement thing. We're just supposed to be trying a lot of different stuff on. And Miranda says, trying what on? And Lizzie says, I think it's like when you go to the mall and try on bare midriff stuff that you know your mom will never let you get, but you have to try it on to see how it looks, to get it out of your system. And I said, this was an immaculate analogy.
Literally. She's so smart. Maybe
so
she's
Animated
that
Lizzie
part
says,
of the brain.
I know. So Animated Lizzie says, I have to say I'm relieved. I'm not going to rule out cosmetology, but it's nice to know my options are still open. Plus, Hairspray kind of makes me dizzy. And so we're back at the McGuire home, and we are at the dinner table, and Joe says, M-Dog, honey, do you see your father wearing a baseball cap to the table? No. So at the table, your do-rag is a don't-rag. Please take it off until after dinner. Thank you. And so Lizzie says, M-Dog, pass the cheese, please. And Matt says, can you pass the... Yeah. And Matt says, can you pass the garlic bread, please, Dad? And then when his dad ignores him, he says, I mean, pass the bread, please, DD. And here I had to point out that it looks like they're having, like, spaghetti or, like, some sort of, like, pasta with red sauce and salad and, you know, obviously garlic bread. Mm-hmm. And you see both kids have a giant full glass of milk next to their plates. And I said, I used to have milk every single night with my dinner as a child, but now looking at them eating spaghetti with milk makes me, like, gag.
I think of all the things I drank milk with growing up, like all an assortments of pasta.
Ugh. My parents used to, we used to have, like, beer mugs that my parents would put in the freezer so they'd get frosty. And so I would have my milk with my dinner every night in a frosted beer mug, and it'd get, like, slushy at the bottom. It was so good. Honestly. Crisp. So Sam passes the bread, and they're just going about their business, eating their dinner, and Matt says, hey, guys, hey, stop. Hey, if I take back my old name, can I call you Mom and Dad again? And Joe says, absolutely. And Sam says, yes. And then Matt says, then I guess you can call me Matt. And Animated Lizzie says, I have to give Mom and Dad props for that one. They convinced Matt to take back his name without humiliating him, and the whole time they respected his boundaries as an individual. As my mother likes to say, Matt was blissfully clueless, which is kind of like what Mr. Pettis was doing to Gordo, which makes me wonder what kind of Jedi mind tricks are my parents and teachers working on me. Oh well, I pretty much have to trust them. Maybe I'm better off not knowing. And then we get outtakes.
Them, like, in the brain matter was...
That's literally my first note. Like, you're seeing, like, production assistants or whatever, like, at least the arms and the hands, and they've got bowls of this stuff, and they are manually, like, dripping this stuff over everybody, and it is so gross.
Major ick. I hated that. Hated it.
Major ick. And then the other outtake that I wanted to point out is Animated Lizzie. Earlier she had said, at the same age that she wanted to be a veterinarian, that she also pretended to be a horse. And here you get Animated Lizzie that's got a horse costume, and she's got the horse bottoms on her bottom half, but then has a second bottom that goes on her top half instead of, like, one top and one bottom, which I thought was funny.
That.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And that's a wrap on season 1, episode 6. Do you have parting thoughts?
This is always an episode I forget about, if I'm being honest. Like...
Yeah.
I remember the brain exploding, but other than that, I was like, I don't remember this one. Because when you had said we were doing Jack of all trades, I was like, I thought it was when Gordo was... When you said the Jack of all trades, I thought it was when...
You thought it was the casino episode.
That one, or the one where he's, like, trying all these different hobbies to be different. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, and everyone got into, like, 1940s, like, ragtime.
Yes! Oh, that's a good one.
That was so bizarre. Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, this one was pretty forgettable, in my opinion.
I think so. I do have to say that, like, I know I said a couple of episodes that I kind of wonder, like, how far ahead they were thinking when they were planning these episodes and writing these episodes, because it seems like we get nods to future episodes in the episodes we're watching now. Mm-hmm. Like, we saw that with, now I can't even remember.
We had they had a callback to the camping episode.
Yes.
Frog in the Pocket.
Yes.
That was a callback to that episode.
Yes, but I feel like in one of the first couple of episodes there was, like, a nod to, like, the rhythmic gymnastics episode, which was still 3 episodes away at that point. And this one with Gordo being the blackjack dealer, I'm like, is this a nod to that future episode we get where it's casino night and Gordo is the blackjack dealer?
Oh.
So I'm starting to be pretty convinced that this is all pretty interconnected, and, like, I have to respect that because this is a show for children, and this is not something as a child I would have ever clocked.
No, never. Maybe that's just how, like I said last time, Mother Taylor has trained our brains to be. Like, it's an Easter egg!
Easter egg!
It's an Easter egg.
So,
gosh.
favorite outfit of the episode?
I liked Lizzie's blue top and green pants.
That was my favorite too.
That she wore twice in this episode. She's an outfit repeater.
Yes, that was my favorite outfit too. I think the outfits in this episode were really good, and I already said that the hair was really good.
The hair was good.
Any
What's your
other
favorite
parting?
line?
Oh,
Mine was Gordo.
honestly, I
roasting
think it was just
everyone.
Gordo's entire crash out.
Yeah, him roasting everyone at the end and calling Lizzie Madge the cosmetologist.
Madge the cosmetologist. Incredible. Incredible.
Oh, man. All right, what's next?
So
wait, what
next
was
week we
yours?
will... Gordo's crash out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Next week, season 1, episode 7, here comes Aaron Carter!
Yes!
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of
Please
fun. This is definitely one of the
block
most
out 2
memorable
hours.
episodes. Yeah.
Block out 2 hours.
Minimum.
Minimum, yes. That one is going to be a good one. Oh my gosh.
It's going to be good.
Oh,
Merry
man.
Christmas, Lizzie McGuire. R.I.P. Aaron. Actually, I'm going to have like a personal like anecdote because you know that Aaron Carter, like at the end of his life, like his only music career was going to like literally like shopping malls and doing like really low budget like radio shows. And I have a friend that worked for iHeartRadio when Aaron Carter came to town when I lived in Birmingham. So I'll have a story to share.
Little story?
A little
Have I heard
story.
this story before?
Maybe not.
I don't think I have. I feel like I would have remembered a little story about Aaron Carter.
Well,
It goes a
we'll
little
see.
something like this.
We'll see. It's going to be fantastic. The fashion is amazing. The episode is amazing.
The silver.
You know, it's our first like big guest star that we're going to get in the series. So strap in, ladies and gents. I think that's all we have for you guys this week. Thank you so much for tuning in again. We are having so much fun on this journey. If you like us, please make sure to subscribe and rate us 5 stars. Maybe even share us with a friend. We are on Spotify and YouTube. Apple Podcasts is forthcoming. And we're the Outfit Repeaters Pod on all platforms. Until next week, we're outie.
Bye.